MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies. America must choose to be a nation of hope and unity and optimism.
When you are not with where majority of Americans are, then, that is extreme. That is an extreme way of thinking.
Well, that was all bizarre. We have highlights or lowlights from Joe Biden's very odd speech in Pennsylvania last night. KJP obviously makes several appearances throughout the show, but also something really interesting got leaked or put out yesterday. Apparently the Biden administration was coordinating with Facebook to try and dispel misinformation. Also, the Fed is calling what we're in right now economically a growth recession, because that makes sense. We'll explain all of that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is September 2nd, the year of our Lord 2022. It's Friday. Lots of things could happen over the weekend. Going into Labor Day weekend, wow, what a great day. Minus the fact that the President of the United States gave probably one of the weirdest addresses that a president has ever given. Talking about unity and how some people suck so much that they can't be unified, but also we need to come together, and I'm a president for everyone, and also F those people. What a weird speech thing, and also the backdrop of it. All of it was weird. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the president gave a speech last night at Independence Hall in Pennsylvania, in which his backdrop looked like he was a villain in a James Bond movie talking to his minions, or I don't know, a Sith Lord in Star Wars. It was weird all the way around. Now, we can talk about the partisan stuff all the time. For this right now, it was just weird. Nobody can really explain why they decided to light it like that. I had a thought, maybe the bizarre setting for Joe Biden's ridiculous speech last night was all part of the DNC trying to make sure that Joe Biden looks so bad that he won't run in 2024. He's not going to run in 2024, but they want to have some input on that before. Anyways, it was weird. It was bizarre. It was honestly kind of embarrassing. But it happened, and that's what we have to talk about. I've got a bunch of clips here that I want to play, but I also want to kind of just give some context to this. Last night, when that was airing, so when the president, quote unquote, gives an address, the nation usually picks it up on all of their main TV outlets, ABC, NBC, CBS, all of the big media platforms. Last night, during President Biden's speech, NBC was showing Law & Order, CBS was sticking with Young Sheldon, and ABC was airing Press Your Luck. In other words, nobody was taking this thing live because even though they said it was a presidential address to the nation, pretty much everybody was like, yeah, this is going to be a political speech. We're not going to air this live. If he wants to do a campaign speech, don't do it with the guise of being a presidential address. So without further ado, I want to play some of these clips. These are long-ish, but I really wanted to get this on here. And to, in kind of the nature of this show, I wanted to be fair, at least as much as I could. Joe Biden said obviously ridiculous things about Republicans and MAGA Republicans, but at the end of this clip, the first clip that we're going to play, again, a little bit lengthy, but he does say, and I don't believe that the majority of Republicans even are extremists. Now, that flies directly in the face of what his own press secretary says, and pretty much what he says throughout the speech. But just so you know, that's coming. I want to play this clip. If you haven't already, I've seen a couple thousand of you watching this. If you wouldn't mind clicking the little like button, and especially the little share button. If you're on Facebook, particularly, or engaging with the post in any way, shape, or form. Let us know what you think. What do you think of the optics of this? Was this more James Bond villain or more Sith Lord Darth Vader Star Wars villain? I think everybody agrees it was kind of villain-esque, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. All right, check this out. Again, a little longish, but we'll discuss on the other side, and I'll definitely be bringing some comments up in here if you want to participate. Check this out.
Now in our time, as we build an America that is more prosperous, free, and just, that is the work of my presidency, a mission I believe in with my whole soul. But first, we must be honest with each other and with ourselves. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans.
So that's okay. So just again, want to play that in fairness. He did say that at the end. But obviously yesterday we talked about KJP, and we've got another clip from her. She gave a press conference yesterday, and goodness gracious, just for the sake of the country, the administration has got to let her go. It's just not, she's just bad at the job and not doing anyone any favors by being in that position. But he does say, well, no, the most Republicans aren't extremists. But then goes on later on in the speech to kind of basically lay out, here are the things that the extremist Republicans believe, and therefore clumping pretty much everybody who is to the right of Mitt Romney, categorizing them as extremists. Here's this next clip that I want to show that's kind of interesting. I am going through the comments here as we're going through. And we'll bring some of these on, but I want you to watch this clip next. Again, a little longish, but I think kind of worth it. Also, I guess this might be a good opportunity. This is the What Joe Biden catchphrase t-shirt, the I don't know what's going on here. You can buy this anywhere if you follow me on any of your social media accounts. I think they're hilarious. A play on the Obama hope, change, nonsense t-shirts. But anyways, check this out. Let me know what you think in the comment section.
I'm an American president, not a president of red America, blue America, but of all America. And I believe it's my duty to level with you, to tell the truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful. And here, in my view, is what is true. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love. They promote authoritarian leaders, and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country.
Okay, so a lot in there that we can quibble with. I want to bring some of these comments up on here. Leon says, tell the truth. That's rich. Yeah, at the first part of that, he said, yeah, MAGA Republicans don't respect the Constitution. Kind of like how I've completely gone against the Constitution on several occasions. This obviously being Joe Biden. Remember when the Supreme Court, who, again, interprets the Constitution, said, hey, you guys and the CDC can't just keep extending moratoriums on evictions. It's not in your purview. If you want to pass something through Congress, you can, but that's not something the president can just do constitutionally, and he did it anyway. Remember when Barack Obama said, I can't constitutionally institute a DACA program, and then he did it anyway. And then most recently, the president of the United States signing in the whole student debt forgiveness, which he can't constitutionally do, and did it anyway. So you want to talk about not respecting the Constitution? Look in the mirror, dude. On top of that, he then goes on to say, and the MAGA Republicans are working to elect people in states all around the country that will wada ba 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 ba. You mean running campaigns? Isn't that what everybody does? Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party, Tea Party? Isn't that what all the parties do? Run races and try to elect their people? Isn't that the whole point of politics? So if you're running a race and you don't agree with Joe Biden, you're a MAGA Republican extremist. Pam also brings up this, and I know we talked about this earlier. He looks like he's giving a speech from hell. Literally, like what? Yeah, what? Do they fire the lighting guy? Also, like conspiracy theorist me thinks, is the DNC setting him up in ridiculous situations in order to make sure that he doesn't try to run for president in 2024? Are they providing cover for themselves after the midterms to say, yeah, we're not going with Joe Biden in the next cycle. We're going to try and promote somebody else to run for president. That's the smart thing to do. If you look at politics as a sport, as I do, that's the smart thing to do, and they should be doing that. So I don't know. Is that something that the DNC is doing? Ryan says he looks like an Incredibles villain. That's funny. That's very funny. All right, here's the last clip that I'm going to play from this particular section of the speech talking about MAGA Republicans again. So remember, the speech was predicated on unity. We are going to bring people together by calling half of the country extremist idiots who don't believe in America. If I know one thing about unity, the more you call me stupid, the more I'll try and agree with you. Watch this last clip. Again, if you haven't already, would appreciate you click the little like button, the little share button, or comment. Let us know what you think about this. The backdrop, for one, being as ridiculous as it is. Also, again, let me know. I see a lot of angry stuff here. If you have anything interesting, that would be would love to hear from you. Just engaging with the post in any way, especially on Facebook, really does help us out. So we really appreciate you doing that, especially going into the weekend. All right, check this last clip out.
And now, America must choose to move forward or to move backwards, to build a future or obsess about the past, to be a nation of hope and unity and optimism, or a nation of fear, division, and of darkness. MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies. But together we can choose a different path.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I guess if you like smaller government and election security, I'm a big proponent of that. You're an extremist. Okay, whatever. I just think, so I tweeted earlier, and I don't entirely know that this made sense to a lot of people on that particular platform. But I said in the last month, Joe Biden has done more to rally the conservative voting base than any Republican. And I believe that to be true. I think in the last month, with the raid of Mar-a-Lago and with statements like this from KJP at the White House press briefing room and Joe Biden, I think there is more fervor in the conservative movement, if you will, than there was before he did it. If they did nothing, they'd be better off. But for some reason, Joe Biden is deciding, intentionally or not, to rally the conservative base. I don't understand it, but that's just what's happening. A couple more comments here that I think were kind of interesting. Michelle asked, can he define MAGA Republicans? Well, he didn't specifically yesterday, but his press secretary, KJP, who is not good at her job, as I've said many times on this show, and will probably have an early exit in December or so when she wants to spend time with her family. And thanks, Biden administration, for such a great opportunity. But she defines it yesterday, which I think is a great segment into this. KJP from the White House press briefing room said one of the most ridiculous things that I think a press secretary has ever said. So it was the most ridiculous speeches a president has ever given. And then one of the more ridiculous things a press secretary has ever said in the same day, on top of, and we'll get to this story next after this, on top of redacted documents coming out of email exchanges between social media platforms and the Biden administration about stopping disinformation. Dude, I don't know. Watch this. This is again one of the more ridiculous things a White House press secretary has ever freaking said. Check it out.
And again, we see majority of Americans who disagree. And so when you are not with where majority of Americans are, then, that is extreme. That is an extreme way of thinking. I'm not going to, that's what I have for you, Phil.
Oh, okay. If you don't agree with the majority of Americans, you're an extremist. That's an extreme way of thinking, says KJP. Friend Lydia, who's the producer at the Timcast podcast, pointed out, hey, 38% of people approve of Joe Biden's work that he's doing in the White House, so they're definitely not in the majority by a pretty good percentage. Are they extremists? Are the people that support Joe Biden and approve of the work that he's doing in his office, by definition, by KJP's definition, are they extremists? Probably. One might think so. But again, at this point, we can argue, we can talk about how dumb that is. I honestly just feel bad for this woman. They are trotting her out as a press secretary with no capability of doing that job. And, well, I'll say it. I don't like this just from a minority standpoint. When you have diversity hires that are just completely incompetent, it diminishes the perception of the value of work that other minorities can do. I don't ever want to be looked at as, oh, they just hired the brown guy because he's a brown guy and can talk about things. No, I would like to be entirely solely based on my competence. And if I suck at this job, please fire me. Don't keep me around based on my skin color. But again, situations like this, which is I think clearly an optics thing. Look, we hired the first gay black immigrant female to, I don't care. I don't care about any of those things. Can you do the job? Can you not do the job? She can't do the job, which, makes it harder for the rest of us. But not only that, she doubled down on more extremist stuff. I believe this is a panel on CNN that she was on talking about some of the bills and what makes you an extremist. Check this out. Again, okay, so just, again, in the sake of fairness, she might have misspoken, which is something that you can't do as the White House press secretary. So competence or idiocy. Not entirely sure which one we're looking at here, but watch this clip. More extreme.
That was the plan that they put forward, and he called that extreme. He called out the MAGA Republicans in the Senate for that. And that was also going to cut taxes on middle class. So there has been many times where the president has been very clear about who he is talking about.
So, again, maybe she misspoke and didn't really string the two thoughts together very well, but an extremist view is cutting taxes for the middle class. Is that correct? Again, I'm leaving room for, hey, maybe she just misspoke because, again, she's not good at talking, even though that's her entire job. Maybe she just misspoke, but also it could be the fact that she doesn't want middle-class citizens to get a tax break, and therefore that idea is extreme. Extremists is the new deplorables, in case you were unaware of that. Speaking of extreme, this should invoke some extreme concern. There's some of the comments saying both. She's both incompetent and ideologically not very smart. Yesterday, also in probably one of the faster news days we've had in a while, and the news cycle is insanely fast already, the Biden administration was caught colluding with Facebook. Dude, all on the same day. KJP says that if you don't agree with the mainstream narrative or the media, the majority of Americans, you're an extremist, which would make anybody who approves of Joe Biden, probably including KJP herself, also an extremist by that definition, not my definition, her definition. On the same day, Joe Biden gives one of the most bizarre speeches a president has ever given, and also the administration gets caught with documents that have just now surfaced of them trying to collude with Facebook on misinformation handling. The Daily Caller broke this, or at least that's where I saw it first, that there was definitely calls between social media companies and the Biden administration when trying to, quote unquote, stop misinformation. I'm trying to open this link here because the best way to look at this, because it's a PDF, is on my phone. This is an email exchange between somebody redacted at Facebook and somebody at cdc.gov, an email. The Facebook person said, "Great, I'll let redacted gather some more claims before we set a date. I'll reach out on topics so you can get the right folks on the call." Redacted CDC person said, "Yes, I would love to do that. I do think getting claims several days in advance would be critical to being sure we have what you need." Redacted Facebook user, So if you're not following here, the Facebook people are emailing the CDC about a meeting to discuss misinformation. I don't think private companies should be taking really any direction from the government who's trying to cover the government's tracks. The Facebook guy, person, man, woman, X, Zer, don't be bigoted, said, "Thank you so much. Redacted and I have been talking about, in addition to our weekly meetings, doing a monthly misinfo/debunking meeting. They are offering the White House a weekly/monthly debunking meeting with maybe claim topics communicated a few days prior so you can bring in the matching experts to chat casually for 30 minutes or so. Is that something you'd be interested in?" said Facebook to the CDC government email person. I'll continue reading. CDC misinformation help debunking people says, "Below is some information from our team. I know there's a lot. Does this give you Does this give you what you need in terms of the global database question at the end? I included some VAERS background below. The page adds more context. Let me know if this doesn't work!" Exclamation point. Bottom line here is the CDC, the Biden administration, and Facebook were all in cahoots regarding, and still might be, who knows, maybe that monthly/weekly phone call to chat for 30 minutes casually is still happening. Who knows, dude? Okay. First of all, is anybody surprised? And second of all, I guess nobody is surprised, which is the problem. Also yesterday, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. But also yesterday, the Fed, Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve, came out and announced the situation that we have economically. And again, the Federal Reserve is independent from the White House, but at the same time, the president does get to appoint the chair of the Federal Reserve. So they are intertwined somewhat, probably politically trying to make things do what they want. But the chairman of the Federal Reserve said something and gave a name to the current economic situation that is going to make you laugh or fall out of your chair at least. But first, watch this clip from Joe Biden regarding the economy and how it's doing and how his policies have benefited all Americans. If you haven't already, would really appreciate you clicking the little like button, the little share button, or letting us know in the comment section, what do you think about this new term that's now being used by the Federal Reserve, growth recession? Listen to this clip from Joe Biden in yesterday's bizarre villain 007 Star Wars speech, talking about the economy first, and then we'll talk about what a growth recession is. Check it out.
And today, America's economy is faster, stronger than any other advanced nation in the world. We have more to go.
Okay, here's what I think is happening. I think, just in the same way that the dictionary changed the definition of what a woman is, if a woman is someone who defines himself as a woman, I think what they're doing is changing definitions of all of the words. Hear me out. The economy is better and faster and stronger than anywhere else in the world. I have done such a great job with this economy that it's growing so fast that we can't even handle it. Okay, cool. Inflation at an all-time high, not an all-time high, but a 40-year high, and also in a recession. I don't know that this has happened before. Nobody really knows what to do with it or what to call it. But the Federal Reserve, however, has given this sort of economic thing that we are now in a new name. And that new name is, get this, a growth recession. You know, because when you grow, you also shrink. I like to go in the fast, slow lane on the freeway. I'm also hungry full pretty much all the time. I really am a supporter of protests that have peaceful violence, and I also am a man-woman. That last example is probably a little bit touchy because that's a real thing that people actually think. But the bottom line here is the verbiage here doesn't exactly coincide with each other. A recession is a shrinking of the economy. So a growth recession, I don't know what that term means. Thankfully, Forbes tried to, and by thankfully, I mean they were the only ones that tried to point this out, or the people that were, highlighted in that. Tried to figure out what is a growth recession. A growth recession. According to Forbes, a growth recession is a slowdown milder than a true recession. Basically, the Fed needs to slow the U.S. economic growth to well below the potential to bring inflation back down to its target of 2%. Okay, that sounds just like semantics to me. They are trying to slow the growth, because that's actually what you need to do. Just so you know, unfortunately, the way to stop inflation is to crush the will of the American people to buy stuff, which is not good. It's not fun. Nobody wants to do it, but it's also necessary because of the hole we've been put in by spending the exorbitant amounts of money that we didn't need to spend. But it's a slowdown that's milder than a true recession. There's no actual definition for that. Growth recession is just a word that they've made up to try and make everybody feel better. No, we're not in bad economic times. This is a growth recession. I'm hungry full. Where are we going for dinner? What are some other ones? I don't know. Give me some other opposites in the comment section. I would love to. Oh yeah, here we go. Greg, it's like jumbo shrimp. Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. Karen just said, we're in a recession of growth, equaling a recession. Melody also, want to give credit where credit's due, also came up with jumbo shrimp first. Not first, but in addition to. Anything else? I feel like there's going to be more that coming in. Oh, here we go, Kathleen. Skinny fat. That's a good one. Okay. Let's see. Should I continue on with this? How growth recession could impact Americans. Some pain for households and businesses, as Powell mentioned in his speech, probably something a bit worse than the period of growth that's below the U.S. economy's trend that the Fed is aiming at first. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm not going to read any more of that. There is just a bunch of jargon basically saying, well, it's not as bad as a recession without inflation, maybe because people are spending money still. I don't understand the rationale, but A growth recession is the term that we're now using to describe what's happening with our current economy. Good. Lastly, but not least, to send you on into the weekend, I want to bring it back to KJP. So, 2 days ago? Got it. This is funny. In the same line of growth recession, things that are opposite of each other, Melody says government intelligence. Funny. Fighting for peace. Geez, I love this. I'm rich or poor, says Leon. I'm smart dumb, says Lori. Fred says, I'm a winning loser. These are all great. You guys are so great. Love the comments in the comment section. But a couple days ago, we talked about how there was a big national test score average plummet. Was that yesterday? It might have been yesterday. KJP was asked about that. Karine Jean-Pierre, whatever, in the White House press briefing room. Asked about that. Hey, did the school shutdowns have anything to do with that? Now, keep in mind, and I don't need to explain this to pretty much anybody watching this, the right side of the aisle, okay, there's a lot of these that are coming in, the opposite things. We'll go back to them at the end, I promise. I'm going to save a bunch of these while I can. Anyways, remember how there was one side of the aisle that was like, no, schools need to be shut down. And they bent to the will of the teachers' unions that were trying to get more and more money, as we talked about yesterday. Well, KJP was asked about, hey, did the school shutdowns do anything that caused this crazy slowdown in education? You're not going to believe what she said or who she's blaming. Check this out. Also, again, last time, if you haven't already, would really, really appreciate it if you click the little like button. There are more people watching currently than have clicked the like button through the entirety of this broadcast. So would really appreciate you doing that. The like button or the little angry button or the laughing button. Maybe the opposite things makes you laugh. And also the little share button right down here, especially if you're watching on Facebook, really, really does help us out. And I don't know, let us know in the comment section anything that you are thinking. Watch this clip from KJP, who is trying to attempt to spin poorly because she's not good at her job. Check it out.
Does the administration shoulder any blame for not pushing schools to reopen sooner?
Again, our priority remains to make sure states and schools and districts are using these funds, that $130 billion. This is going to go again to tutoring, to more teachers, real solutions to make sure that our kids are getting what they need. And, every Republican Congress voted against that money. That is the reality. We had to do this on our own. And so, we're going to make sure that those funds are directed to the most resources towards students who fell the furthest behind.
Yeah. Okay. So she's now blaming Republicans on not voting to give more money that they didn't need because the schools were already safe to go to, and everybody had already proved that. It's the Republicans' fault that kids are not in school or were not in school for the longest time. All right. Okay. I guess if you're given a bad hand, you got to play it the best you can. But holy cow, is she not good at playing that hand. Wow, what a day yesterday was. It was kind of interesting. Yesterday, I was at dinner celebrating my sister's birthday yesterday, and it was kind of just, it was interesting how we were at a place where there was a bunch of TVs watching college football. And, you realize that not everybody cares about this stuff, and that's fine. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I think people shouldn't care about this nonsense. But at the same time, it's great to have people be as informed as they possibly could, especially when wandering their way into the ballot box. But again, blockbuster day yesterday. I'm sure the weekend will be met with a bunch of, fallout over this. Anything that happens, I will bring it to you Monday. I think I'm doing a show Monday. I think we're doing a show Monday. But then it gets kind of out of whack into the, I'm not entirely sure what's happening. We're going to Israel for the next 2 weeks with the folks over at TPUSA. Thanks so much for providing great people over there. Really excited, but not entirely sure how this show's going to work from there. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we won't. Geez, I want to get to some of these more. He's a hairy, bald person. biggest little city. If you were paying attention to the growth recession, all of these things, he's, let's see, if Fred says winning loser, yeah, a lot of these were coming in. They were pretty fun. So anyways, not entirely sure how we're going to do that. Oh, this is a nice comment from Mike. You rock. Hey, thanks, man. You rock too. Thanks for watching. Appreciate that. Susan also says, love your shirt. Yeah, if you haven't seen this, it is the Joe Biden catchphrase t-shirt. Is this the right way? Yeah. What? Joe Biden catchphrase t-shirt. Available on any of the social media platforms that you follow me on: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, which, by the way, if you haven't given me a follow on any of those social media platforms, you can go ahead and do so. And you can get actually all of these shirts. Let's just show them all. There's all of these shirts at on my Instagram store, on my Facebook store, or you can go to capitalistpropaganda.net, and that's probably, sorry, no, capitalistpropaganda.us, and you can get the gas prices higher than Hunter Biden, the You're Welcome, Love Capitalism, Corruptifornia, Capitalism Rocks, Let's Go Brandon, the What Joe Biden t-shirt. You can get them all at there or capitalistpropaganda.us. Yeah, if you like the shirt, appreciate that comment. Anyways, have a great weekend. Remember that politics isn't everything all the time, and you don't need to go into your weekend mad or irritated about the state of the world, even though it is anger provoking. Have a good time with your family. Go barbecue Labor Day weekend. And we will see you probably Monday, maybe Tuesday. Again, this is all up in the air depending on the internet connectivity and the time that we have on the ground in Israel. But if I don't see you for 2 weeks, God bless you. If I end up seeing you on Monday, glad to have you. Well, until then, see you next time. God bless America.